is it that James Charles is the victim in every single situation? I've never heard of someone so innocent and just always the victim.
That part, and he is an older friend of hers and like should know better, and all you have to do is put out a statement, you know, don't condone it, not friends with this person. It's like he gets called out for like inappropriate behavior year after year. It's always kind of proven, he always kind of admits to it, kind of says sorry, and then just moves on, and like people like forgive him. He's 26 now, so he's no longer like an 18-year-old.
What did Trisha have to say about James Charles? Good day, everyone! This is gonna be a bit more outdated topic that we're coming back to. But if you guys remember the Kayla Mac drama, there's a period of time where people were waiting for a response from James. Of course, we have one now, where he claims that he legit had no idea what was going on. But before that, you had people like Trisha Paytas talking about how even this time, he would play the victim. And to be completely frank, she was somewhat on the mark. So let's watch this video by Skeleton together and see what she predicted.
This James Charles situation is about to get real messy.
Oh shit, what did it say? The video was filmed before what? Before James Charles spoke the check out all my previous video and channel. Oh, okay.
At the time of me filming this video, Kayla has not like released any information that came out from the court situation to her ex.
You won a case, her ex. Oh, like this was before. Oh shit. Oh, Skeleton. This is old news. This was before Kayla won her case. Oh shit.
Boyfriend, Evan Johnson. But
I hopefully it doesn't like change what Trisha said about James Charles.
James Charles did release a little statement, okay? If you guys haven't followed up with all this like craziness, I'm gonna give you a brief little rundown, okay, so that way you guys don't have to go back to my other videos. But if you guys want to, they are there. I did actually make like a 20.
Now what I want to see right is, you know, if she picks on the same talking points about the same talking points that Skeleton made, were like, oh, he claims that he never knew Kayla that much. Meanwhile, he's with his man. He's with her man. You know, like those are all those weird parts that stuck out.
Video going into way more details about all of this situation, but I'm gonna give you guys a brief little context. There's this girl Kayla Malik. Y'all, I still don't even know if I'm pronouncing her name right. Because by the way, y'all, after I filmed that video, I'm all scrolling through TikTok, and then other T pages are talking about her, and then like I said, some
it has to be Kayla Malik.
Say Malek, and then some say Malik. So I'm just like,
it sounds like a Polish name, whatever.
I don't know. Anyways, there's this content creator named Kayla. Okay, she was actually friends with James Charles. She's collabed with him before. She was dating this guy, and he turned out to be very abusive. Okay. They ended up breaking up, and then James Charles took this as his opportunity to house this guy and end up hooking up with this guy. If you guys have not checked out the Be Better podcast, check it out, y'all, because he did a full-on interview with a guy that was friends with Evan Johnson that outed James Charles, okay?
Dude, that part was crazy. Okay, a quick rundown, right? I find that crazy because that guy, to my knowledge, from a member, FYI, he was claiming like they had like a sex tape or like, you know, they collabed on OnlyFans, all that crazy shit. I want to see what happened to that guy. Like, you know, that guy was fucking insane with what he alleged. Like, he alleged some insane stuff with like no proof at all. Like he spilled out all the tea on the podcast.
Okay, because he did have DMs between James Charles and him, and y'all, things look to, let me say, seem to be confirmed that James Charles did hook up with his friend's ex. And here's the thing, the whole internet was like, oh my gosh, like how could he?
So, now it is confirmed more. Like I said before, you know, it's confirmed 99.9% sure that they were hooking up. Okay.
With somebody who abused his friend. I had stated within my video, and as of right now, I still haven't seen any, you know, definitive proof that he did in fact know that Kayla was being abused by him. I still stand true in my opinion that I feel like it's shady regardless. I don't care if he was the best partner ever. It is so shady to hook up with your partner's BF or ex-BF. Like, there is, 8 billion people on the planet now, and you're gonna...
I get it. He has your opinion, right? But like, it's a different argument to what really happened, where, you know, did he know about the abusive shit and carry on defending him?
Go choose to hook up with your friend's ex.
Like, if you want to like litigate a different drama from that, fair enough.
To me, that is just so.
But I can't remember about, you know, the knowledge that he had potentially of what was going on and still chose to defend him.
Okay, even if, let's say, for example, even if he was an abuser, okay? Anyways, he has been staying silent now for, I want to say it's been about a month that James Charles hasn't said anything. And obviously everyone is starting to catch on now, like what's going on here, because this guy from the Be Better podcast had said that he did see with his own eyes that James Charles did hook up with Kayla's ex, Evan Johnson. Okay, I guess there is a Snapchat video saved on Evan Johnson's phone of him allegedly hooking up with James Charles. This is where shit just gets so messy, so shady. Kayla is saying though, as soon as court is over, or as soon as it like settles down, she's obviously, you know, being advised by a legal team that she is going to talk about the situation more as soon as she can. And I am just so curious to know this whole James Charles situation, because like I said, okay, in my opinion, it really does seem to be true. Obviously, we do got to leave a tiny little percentage for it to be false, and that some things were falsified. However, y'all, I read some DMs within that last video that I filmed about James Charles, and I'm like, it seems legit if you ask me, okay?
Oh yeah, I guess he means like, you know, like the weird language he was missing, because like she said No, she said like, right then and there, like he was abusive, and he glossed over that. In his defense, like he was saying like, oh, I thought he was kidding. That's why I dismissed it initially. And from there's like a different mess of its own.
Anyways, before we get into that, I do want to talk about Trisha Paytas though, y'all, because there is going to. Okay, if you guys don't remember, it was a few years ago as to where James Charles and her were beefing on TikTok. She had made some comments about him, and then he felt
They were beefing on TikTok last year. I don't remember.
Need to like go off on her, and it was just this whole entire thing. And I think that it's so funny though, because actually, if you guys don't recall, when he was going off on Trisha Paytas, he's like saying all these things about her and her past, because yes, she does have a very controversial past, and she has done a lot of controversial things, and she's probably done a lot of offensive things. Which, hey, this is why I look at people like her and I'm like, yo, I really do.
Yeah. That reminds you, right? She was probably, very, very vitriolic about this. Like, the second she heard the drama with Kayla, Malik, and James Charles, she's like, ooh, that's spicy. That's some hot tea for a
I feel that
podcast.
people can learn, change, and grow. I feel like she was that type of person, that she was going through so damn much in her life, that she was seeking attention in any type of way that she can, that she would do the most outlandish things, she would say the most outlandish things, and obviously that would offend people in the making. But I think now, at least for the past couple years, she has been so, I don't know, like, I would say, like, newly guided. Do you know what I mean? I feel like she is definitely now a new
She's been I agree. She's been way more
version
calm.
of herself. And this
Wait, hold on. Does she have 2 kids or 3? No, I think she has 3 kids with Moses. It took 3 goddamn kids to calm him down.
where I
Thank
say
God.
it's so funny that James Charles was shitting on her for her past, but then he can't hold himself accountable for his past, because it's like, homeboy, you have made a lot of mistakes too, but yet within every single situation, he acts like he's the victim of it. And it's like, no, homeboy, you have taken your role in this. So I do want to go ahead and start this off to playing a clip to where Trisha Paytas had said some things before about James Charles. This is old, by the way. I don't even know how old it is. I want to say maybe like 3 years old, maybe 4 years old. It's been like a hot minute, but it's now going back around on TikTok and blowing up, because it's like, oh, damn, Trisha knew all along. Check it out.
How is it that James Charles is the
Oh my God, it's not okay. Never against her, right? But like, when you see her with no makeup, when you see her normally, it's like a huge whiplash.
victim in every
Again, she looks gorgeous normally.
single situation? I've never heard of someone so innocent and just always the victim.
There you saw she is saying James Charles is the victim in every single situation. And yes, that is old, but obviously it still applies to now, because obviously we can tell by his actions that he is not really coming out and like making an apology. Do you know what I mean? I will
Again, like, to make the story very clear, like, this video is before James Charles' apology, or like, sorry, his response in recent.
get into his statement in just a little
like the point still stands, regardless of how we try to play the victim even now.
bit, as you guys can see, as to why he hasn't come out with a statement. But I am so damn sorry. I at least would put out a notes app apology about this. You know what I'm saying? But I think that he is being advised by a team, okay? Anyways, I do want to say this as to where like she specifically said like him being a victim is because if you guys didn't see, even Bretman Rock kind of had the same type of, feelings towards James Charles, because he did do an interview before and he was like, the beauty community was just too damn ugly. I had to get up out of there. Everyone is like filled with apologies, but then they do the same thing over and over again. Come to find out, he was low key.
Do you feel that's every single community, commentary, drama, community is all full of that shit.
Kind of being vague.
The fixed apologies that will never stand up properly, come next year, because they will all commit the same sins once again.
Let's just say about James Charles, because he ended up making a video with this girl to where they were cooking, and he said he hates the name James, and he was like, oh, I'm sorry to every James out there except for one, because you're ugly on the inside and the outside. Obviously,
That's true. Like, holy fuck, that cooks actually.
everybody was like, oh, this
That's
is James
hard.
Charles. Like, he is 100% talking about James Charles, and he never denied that it was about James Charles. So clearly there is beef there. Anyways, y'all, fast forward to now before we get into James Charles, whole the way I like get calls literally in the middle of me filming and it throws me off. I'm like, ugh, throws off my whole thought process. Literally, that was me right there. Before we get into James Charles' whole, statement about this, which was very tiny, by the way, I do want to go ahead and play another clip.
Wait, so he made a a previous statement before the apology video, so the response video.
Trisha
Did
Paytas'
he?
podcast where she was talking to her sister about the James Charles situation, and I'm like,
Your sister?
y'all, I gotta keep it real with you guys. More people need to talk out about this. They really do, because I feel like James Charles is. I really do feel like as soon as everything comes out about this, I think that he's still going to be fine. They did this whole James Charles mass unfollowing. He only lost like 800,000 followers. And I'm like, really, when you have over 40
That's a lot, right? Like, I think he has like up to like 60 million on TikTok. So that's like that's like a drop in the bucket for him. So that's right.
million followers, what is 800,000?
Wait, hold on. They were doing the same shit they did with Vex, whatever his name was, James Charles. That's so petty and moronic.
You know what I mean? So I think people need to speak out about this, because clearly this is repeated behavior of James Charles of just being a really shitty person. So check out what Trisha Paytas had to say now.
Back to James Charles.
Oh my God! Wait, that's a sister, older sister. That looks just like her. but like with a more chiseled cheekbones, maybe.
I don't know. I feel like we'll be getting
Bro, they have the same fucking hair.
an apology
Actually,
video.
now they look so goddamn similar. What the hell?
Well, I don't think it's happening. It's been now 2 weeks we've been talking about this.
That's uncanny.
No apology video. No acknowledgement. We've been
No
saying this-
acknowledgement.
Yes, no acknowledgement. We've been talking about this on Hot Topics for a while, and it's blown up everywhere. Obviously, James has been silent on this.
That's sad. I feel bad for Kayla.
Yeah, of course.
Because I thought they were really good friends.
That part, and he is an older friend of hers, and like should know better. And all you have to do is put out a statement. You know, don't
Also,
condone.
guys, bear in mind, keep in mind, this was before he made the public video. Like, I still want to get like a grasp on her belief, her perception of him, and see like how it might be improved with what we know now on hand with the response video.
Own it. Not friends with this person, and he has done nothing. Silence is loud.
And I think whatever he thought his comment or whatever the comment under the video was of like, oh, can I have him now? Not funny, not needed,
Right.
unnecessary, hurtful.
Well, there was a new interview last week. Did you see? There was a friend of
Evan.
yes that said that they had hooked up and had a sexual relationship.
I did see that.
I guess Kayla's back in Nashville today.
Is the only person like saying that they hooked up just that guy, that crazy guy on the podcast? Because I want to see like other proof, aside from that. To my knowledge, like, it really sounds like like they were living in the same house. Or sorry, James was like housing him, but he never got sexual, romantic. That's the one thing. And if the only guy saying that is like a crazy person, alleging that they also made X videos together, then I'm not sure if I'm gonna trust them.
I saw her. She's going to court with him. So and the James Charles always having to be part of this is like
How is he
extra
always
sickening.
in something?
Always. Every
Always.
year. I saw someone do an analysis of this on TikTok. They were like, this is like nothing new. Like he gets canceled in a very big way. And canceled like the worst word for this because it sounds like drama. It's like he gets called out for like inappropriate behavior year after year. It's always kind of proven. He always kind of admits to it, kind of says sorry, and then just moves on. And
Holy fuck, she's right actually. Yeah, he didn't admit to it. He semi-admitted. He admitted to it. Like the only saving grace was his misreading of it.
like people like forgive him. And it's like, but
And he was like, yeah, also that's what, when he made a response video, I think the like ratio was pretty big. Like it was 6 million, but like for the amount of viewers that tuned in, yeah, they seem pretty positive about it.
then like a pattern
He's
happens again
right.
where like this happens again and again. And
He's
it's just
right,
like,
And it's always like, I didn't know. I'm going to take accountability. It's like,
but he hasn't even
when?
said that.
When is it going to happen?
And he's also 26 now, so he's no longer like an 18-year-old.
The way I know
He's 26, fucking hell.
James Charles hates Trisha Paytas, y'all. I just know it because she obviously has a very big platform. She has a lot of viewers, as y'all heard from right there. And low-key, I agree. She's like, James Charles always does these like things that are like really bad or whatever, and then he'll come out and he'll apologize for it.
Again, like despite all this hate against James Charles, I feel bad for him. He really was called. He was called like in the worst context, but honestly, like he gives a story. Like, there's a small period of time where he looks really bad until he made a response and elaborated, how he just he fucked up by not understanding Kayla properly, and that was it. And in no way, right, do I think that was malicious. I think it was a very moronic read of situation. Like when he heard abusive, he meant like he was over exaggerating. That's somewhat shitty, but I don't blame him, for like assuming the worst ever. That's the case. That's the issue.
Y'all, somebody put a compilation video together of all the times that he made apology videos, and I didn't know.
Like, bear in mind, right? Like he dropped Evan the second he knew more about this.
that many. In my head, I don't know why I could only think
If he stuck with Evan more, oh my, that'd been awful.
of 2, but y'all, they put a compilation together that was like 5. I was like, oh damn, I missed all these. So when she said that, I was like, low-key, she is exactly right, that he'll come out and he'll kind of like, apologize for it, but then he'll just kind of like, oh, okay, sweep it under the rug, and then everybody forgives him. And that is really true, y'all. Like, this is just
So far, like this is like scary accurate to like what happened actually.
proof right here that obviously he is not ever going to be canceled. Do you know what
The one thing that I think that was unique in the apology video, I'm not sure actually. Let me think. Nah, I can't think of it
I
right
mean?
now.
And I feel like, look, y'all know I've said time and time again, specifically why I started doing commentary up on my channels, because I was like, damn, I'm getting so frustrated with cancel culture. People are being called out for this, and that. Like, oh my God, you made an offensive joke 10 years ago. That shit triggered me. I was like, nope, I gotta make videos because I'm so tired of people acting holier than thou, and I don't like that shit. And I've always said, no, I don't think people need to be canceled. James Charles, I think he does. I am so sorry. The things that he has done, just the way that he is, and clearly he is, y'all, I hate calling people like a word like this, but y'all know it starts with a P, okay? I'm not trying to get my video demonetized, but y'all know
A petard? What P word? A punt?
what I'm talking about. And I'm really starting to see like, oh my gosh, like really, maybe he is going to be the next Diddy, honestly. Like that's just my opinion, okay? Because I really do feel like
That's a wild claim. Like even like before the response video, that's a huge, assumption.
the way he is moving, he needs to be held accountable to the shit. And it seems like time and time again, every single time that he comes out with some, shit like this, let me apologize, let me cry. And then everyone's like, oh, okay, we're back to being fine. So that's why I'm like, I'm kind of glad that Trisha is speaking out about this. More people need to speak out about it. Let's go ahead and get into his statement, okay, that he posted on his Instagram.
I think the most you can learn from this, after response video, is just, learning to be more cautious with this. Like when he hears from a friend or God knows whoever, and they hear about, abuse, all that stuff, they take it way more seriously. They don't sugarcoat it. They listen to them and then they make their own concrete opinion from it.
Instagram as well as his TikTok story. And I am so sorry. By the way, I forgot to tell y'all too, is I was like being nosy going through the comments of his latest TikTok, which at this point now I want to say has been up for about a week, maybe even longer. And y'all, I was being nosy and I was like seeing on there that he's deleting comments because there was some top comments that I had saw on there calling him out and then they were deleted. So I'm like, there's some shady shit going on right now. And I don't like that because I feel like if you're out there.
People always say like, oh, it's so shady. He's deleting comments. To be fair, right, like when a drama breaks out, there are some very toxic people that say the worst thing ever. Like they subscribe to like the worst idea ever, and then they repeat it over and over, and they hold a person accountable without hearing the full story yet, from their side.
There and like obviously,
I'm not saying that's what happened, but there are some valid reasons, sometimes to delete comments if they're fucking crazy.
You're acting a little bit shady and you're deleting comments. Like people can say whatever the hell they want to say, but you're actively deleting comments while not speaking.
No, I'm sorry. If someone's like spreading a horrible narrative, without any evidence, they should be policed, in my opinion.
To me, you look shady as hell. Okay, that's my opinion. This is what he posted right here. I do not support Evan Johnson. I am hoping and praying that Kayla gets justice tomorrow. As I promised her privately, I will not be responding publicly to anything until after the hearing is over. I specifically want to emphasize on the as I promised her privately. I will not be responding publicly, okay? I think that he obviously threw that in there to show that they have been in communications privately, okay? So maybe he sent her an apology. Maybe he, I don't know, sent her roses or some shit. I don't know what the case is. Obviously, we will see within, time. But I gotta say this, okay? There is no apology on the planet, okay, that I could forgive somebody for like that. You know what I'm saying? Like if one of my friends hooked up with my partner, I'm not gonna forgive you. I'm sorry. You can tell me you're sorry all you want. No,
okay, because there is. I was gonna say, there's not a single apology that would make me forgive him, from the drama. Even though, in my opinion, I think it was serviceable. It was decent. It wasn't that bad. But I guess if he's taking the angle, it's way more offensive that he hooked up with his friend's ex, whatever, fine, that's a separate drama in of its own.
There's just so many other people out there, especially James Charles, okay? He is young, he's rich, he's famous. There is so many other people that he can hook up with, and you're going to choose to hook up with your friend's partner. That is so damn shady, okay? I am sorry, I stand by that opinion because I would never do that to somebody. Like, yes, I understand, like, things happen, and you may hang around with somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, like, I have feelings for this person. But it's up to you as a grown-ass adult to stop those feelings. Do you know what I mean? To be like, nope, this is not right, I can't do it. Even though I feel a little something for this guy, I can't do it. You know what I mean? And I just feel like, ugh, I don't know. Anyways, we're obviously going to see how this whole court case, comes about. We're going to see if Kayla speaks out. I do have to say this.
I mean, we know the story now. Thankfully, she won. God bless her.
Yes, though, he did obviously throw in there that he spoke with her privately, but she is publicly liking comments about him, okay? And she actually had made a comment towards somebody else about him as well, too. She literally just said that or whatever to a text about him, or a DM, not DM, oh my gosh, a comment about him. So I'm like, she's still actively liking comments about him. So clearly he did do something wrong. I don't think that she would be out here liking all these comments about him. If you guys check out my other video about James Charles, you guys would have saw this. She wouldn't be liking all these damn comments if it wasn't true. So that's just my little 2 cents on it. I'm so curious to know when he's going to address the public, if he's going to do it on YouTube, if he's going to do it.
Again, to repeat skeleton, this video was filmed before James Charles spoke out. Check out my previous videos to see the update. Well, there we go. I think now we get the story. I think Trisha Paytas, for her side, like, she was pretty accurate, with her claim that he would make a response video that was, 50%, accepting, the blame and 50% denying it. The one saving, okay, I think the one delineation that would really, change your perception of him is that, was he valid to, not believe Kayla immediately? Like, was he right to read the word abuse and, interpret an over-exaggerated definition of that word? Maybe, I'm not sure. Like, I would really have to look over the DMs again, because from what I remember, right, she seemed very serious, and there was nothing to indicate that she was joking. It all looked very heartbreaking. No, so that's what, he also said right then and there with him that he wanted to make a response video on TikTok about it. So it seemed very serious. But regardless, I think Trisha, she cooked with that opinion, that prediction of the response video, where he would somewhat take the blame, but then also somewhat shift it. I'm not sure who he shifted. He definitely pinned it more oh no. So he definitely blamed much more the guy on the podcast, whatever it was called, alleging all this crazy shit. I've seen not that much evidence, that they were hooking up, in person. All I know so far, from what's being claimed, is that he did house him and he was helping him out for a bit. Again, until he found the full story and he immediately disavowed him. That's it. But overall, I think Trisha was pretty right with that prediction. Pretty on point, to be fair.